Hey y'all, Emily Bowie here. Thank you so much for stopping by for another video. I truly appreciate it. Before we get started, don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell icon so that you'll know each time that I upload a new video. Before we get started, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and that little bell icon next to the subscribe tab so that you'll know each time that I upload a new video. And give me a thumbs up and drop a comment. Let me know if you have anything else that you'd like to add. I'd love to hear from you. This is the top 5 worst mixing advice tips that I've ever gotten, at least so far. Bad advice number 1, cut all mic bleed. I can't believe I actually used to do this, but very early on, I was actually told to cut out all of the mic bleed on a drum kit. That's right, track by track, cut out all of the mic bleed so that everything looks and sounds like a drum sample. And as you would expect, I was never happy with that result. It was awful. Thin, paper sounding, nothing like any of the records that I listened to. Now, once I started to really educate myself on my own about mixing and recording instead of this classroom environment, I realized that the engineers that I follow and admire do not do this. So what I do recommend is finding who the recording and mixing engineers are on your favorite records and albums and follow their process. Bad advice number 2, EQ sweeping every track for bad EQ. I think a lot of folks have heard this one and quickly realize that it's not a good practice. This is probably one of those big tips that professional YouTubers started, not actual audio engineers. If you boost a narrow EQ 12 dB and sweep it around, you're gonna find a lot of bad sounds. And before you know it, you've got 10 different cuts along the entire frequency spectrum. And this just leaves your song sounding like there's a lot of holes in it, nothing fitting together. And if there needs to be any boost or cuts, then you should hear them. And that's another point. You should start to train your ears before you start going all willy-nilly with the EQ bands. And the more you train your ear, the better you'll get at this. Bad tip number 3. Signing up for plugin subscriptions. I feel like these companies just bundle up all of their plugins and target beginners so that they can convince you if you use their products, then you'll have everything that you need to make a great sounding record. But plugins are not the secret sauce to making music sound great, especially if you don't know what they do. And you don't need 6 EQs, compressors, saturations, and all-in-one mastering suites. First, learn the stock plugins that come with your DAW. Then you can start to research on what your favorite music is being processed with. That will help you in the long run instead of throwing away all kinds of money on these monthly subscriptions and also plugins that keep making you upgrade. Plus, if this is something you want to do for work or making a living at, it's best to budget yourself on things that you can actually own instead of paying for them over and over again. And to be honest with you, I personally don't think they sound that great, and I still haven't found any engineer that I like use them. Number 4, high pass everything. This is one that seems to be kind of a 50-50. Maybe more people don't high pass, but so many people keep telling you to do it. And you really don't just need to put a plugin on something just because. And why would you? We all know how plugins eat up CPU. Again, focus more on listening. And hopefully you're spending some time on acoustics and the treatment and getting to know your room. So then when you hear something that needs to be a little bit more tighter, like the bass, you can go ahead and put a high pass filter on that. And you'll know how far you need to sweep that up to. Just remember, when you start cutting away all of the low end on each of your tracks, it's going to start to sound unbalanced. And number 5, huge, wide drums. Gonna make a lot of people mad with this one. Wide ass drums just don't sound as good. The more I go back and listen to a lot of the earlier stuff that I used to mix, and even some of the modern stuff today that's out commercially, the drums are just so distracting. Drums should be looked at as one instrument, and I think that does get taught, but I don't think that it's applied very well. I mean, some of the best and most iconic sounding drums have one overhead mic. When drums are panned as far wide as they can go, they aren't as focused sounding, and that tends to build up noise in a mix, especially if there's a whole bunch of cymbals going on. And less mics, less phase issues. Try panning your overheads up the middle, or at least close to the center. See if that sounds better and let me know what you think. And there you have it. That's my top 5 worst mixing advice. What are yours? I'd love to know. Leave me a comment. We'll discuss. And don't forget to hit the thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. And as always, don't forget to hit the subscribe tab and the bell icon next to it so you'll know when I upload a new video. Thanks for watching, y'all.